Hi friends, welcome to Iace. My name is Rajendra Prasad, Faculty of English. I deal with English grammar. In this video, we will look at few questions which were in the recent examinations, right? So that we'll get a clarity as to understand the difficulty level of the question. All right? Yes. Let's begin with the first question. All right. So your first question is: one of the boy has been absent for 3 days, right? So you need to spot the error. If you think there is no error in the sentence, right, ma? So you can go with your no error, right? So in the first part, we have one of the boy. So all of you know that it is not one of the boy. It would be what? One of the boys. The reason being, right, ma? The reason being, right? So when you consider a part of something, right? When you consider a part of something, that something must be in plural form. That something must be in what? Plural form, right? So it means, right, we'll have to consider OF of here, right? OF of. OF of has got two meanings actually. If you get to see OF of in a sentence, you need to understand that, Prigma. So generally it has got two meanings. One of the meanings of 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 is, right, possession. One of the meanings of 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 is what? Possession. It indicates possession, right now. And next, it indicates the amount of something, right? Amount of something, or you can rather say portion or part of something. Part of something. Part of something, right? So, could you let me know? In this case, I've used of. Is of used as possession or amount? It means a portion of something. Yes, it is used as what? Portion of something, right? So we are taking one out of what? Not one. We'll have to take one out of many. It means we'll have to have more than one. If it has to be more than one, it has to be in what? Plural form. So hence it should not be boy. It should be boys. But we are used to saying, right? We are used to saying one of the boy, one of the girl, one of the pen. That is not correct, right? So it means point number one. If you want, you can write it down on a piece of paper so as to ensure that if the same model repeats, we're not going to make the mistake. Right. So now the point is, if OF of is used in terms of amount or portion or part of something, right? The word which comes after the noun or pronoun, the noun or pronoun that comes after OF of must be plural, must not be what? Singular. All right. So let me write another sentence here, right? So that you would understand. Let me write some of the pen, some of the pen are sold. I've written an easy question here so as to understand the concept that I have told you here, right? In this case, is OF of used as possession or amount? Of course, is it referring to amount or possession? Yes. OF of is referring to what? Amount. It means portion of something, right? So if it if OF of indicates portion of something, that something must be in what? What did I tell you just now? I've told you that the word which comes after OF of needs to be in what? Plural form. Of course, pen should be replaced with what? Some of the pens are sold, right? Now, this is case number one. This is a repeated question that was being asked in the examinations, right? Let it be central level, let it be state level. When I say state level or central level, SSC, CGL, banking, or rather, right, the state level exams as well, right, ma'am? So now the point is, right, what if OF of is used as possession, right? So let me write an example here so that you would understand what I am talking about. All right, fine. The principal of the college, I've written here the principal of the college and I've written the principal, right? The principal, the principal of the colleges. First of all, please answer this question, right? Is my statement A correct or B correct? The principal of the college, the principal of the colleges, right? So what do you say? Both the sentences are correct. Both the sentences are correct, right? So we'll understand the use of here, right? Is of used as possession or amount in this case? In this case, is of used as possession or amount? Of course, it is used as what? Possession, right? The principal belongs to what? The college, right? Ma? The college principal rather, right? So it refers to what? Possession. It means if OF of is used as possession, if OF of is used as possession, the noun that comes after OF of can be either singular or plural. Singular or plural. There is one college, one principal. Many colleges, one principal. But in this case, OF of is used as what? Portion of something, right? Portion of something. If you are referring to portion of something, that something needs to be in what? Plural form for sure, right? So this is the point number one to be noted, of course, right, Ma? So your second question, right? So one of the boys, let me read the sentence completely. One of the boys has been. We are talking about what? One. We are talking about what? One here, right? So since one is what? One boy. Actually, out of many boys, we are talking about one boy. So one boy is what? Third person singular. Third person singular. You know what? First person, second person, third person, right? So third person singular takes what? Has here, right? So has been absent for 3 days, which is your present perfect tense. This we would learn in tenses, right? While we learn tenses, you'll get in detail, right? Yes. Your second question is, I hope you have understood this, right? Your second question is, yes. Mohan did not went to Delhi last year, right? Mohan did not went to Delhi last year. If you get to see this type of model, right, you can answer it in 1 second, right? So everybody says that, sir, it is not went here. It should be replaced with what? Go, right? Mohan did not go to Delhi last year. But see, some of the students say that, sir, this is last year, right? Last year means what? Past tense. So absolutely went is past tense. There's nothing wrong with past tense, right? But the problem here is, right, ma, we have did here, which is already a past form, which is already a past form, right? It means when you have a past form here as did, the main verb that is related to did should not be in past form. It should be in what? Base form. As we all of us know, verb has four forms. Verb has what? Four forms. That is V1, V2, V3, V4. V1 is termed to be present form. V2 is termed to be past form. Means a verb, right, ma? A verb has how many forms? Every verb, if you call it a verb, it needs to have what? Four forms. Those are V1, which is your present form. Of course, this is your past form. This is your past participle form. All right, V4, which is your present participle form. Present participle form, right? So this can also be called as what? V1 plus ing. V1 plus ing, right? Of course, right? V1. When I say V1, right? Went is what actually? V2, which is past form, right? So went. What is the base form of went here? Go. Base form of went is what here? Go. Past participle form. When I say past participle form, V3 form. V3 form, what is V3 form here? Gone, right? Of course, this is going. Of course, this is going. It means, remember this. Remember this. Easy to remember, right? In a sentence, if you get to see do or does or did. In a sentence, if you get to see do or does or did, the main verb should always be in its base form, nothing but present form. present form of verb needs to be used, right? When you get to see do or does or did, no matter what, if you get to see a question in this model, you always have to go with what? The main verb. If you get to see do or does or did, you'll always have to check whether the main verb is in what? V1 or not. If it is not V1, simply mark it as error, right? So, of course, base form is what? Went ka base form kya hai? So, the base form of went is what? Go, right? So, Mohan did not go to Delhi last year, right? This is your answer, right? And let me write another sentence here so that we'd come to know whether we have understood or not, all right? Right. So, answer this question. Why did he scolded you? Why did he scolded you? So find out the grammatical mistake in the sentence. Of course, yes, right? So what did I tell you just now? I told you that whenever you get to see do or does or did, we have gotten to see what? Did here. What is your main verb here? Of course, scolded. Scolded is what? V2. Scolded is what? V2. Of course, scolded is also V3, but we never use what? V2. With what? Do or does or did. So hence we would use what? Scolded. What is the V1 form of scolded or the base form of scolded? You know what? Scold. Why did he scold you? That's a simple thing, right? So please remember that, right? So if you remember this, if you get to see this type of models in examination, within a second you can answer this, right? Next. Your next question is, your next question is, John met me just now. John met me just now. You need to find the error. Yes. It is not what? Yes. The problem is with what? Tense, right? If you have to answer this type of questions, you need to have what? Command over tenses, right? We have simple present tense, simple past tense, simple future tense, etc. tenses, right? 12 tenses, right? We need to have command over tenses. Now the point is, right? Our keyword is what? Just now, which is related to present time as well, right? John met me just now. It means that meeting has the present relevance. This is your verb, right? This is your verb, which is your V2 form. If a verb is written in V2 form, it means that it is in simple past tense. Simple past tense. Right. Can I tell you something? Simple past tense is not used. Simple past tense is not used with the sentences which have present relevance. Maybe it is a completed action, but that completed action has what? Present relevance. John met me. This is absolutely completed action, but that completed action has what? Present relevance. Present relevance. If completed actions have present relevance, how did you come to know that it has present relevance? By looking at the word what? Just now, recently, right? So these are the keywords which refers to present time. If you get to see these keywords, we'll have to use not simple present tense, but we'll use what? Present perfect tense. Present perfect tense, right, ma? So since this is a demo, right? I'm attacking directly, right? So that you will understand the way I teach students, right? If not, we can start with the basics, right? Noun, pronoun. Of course, we'll start when our course begins, but it is just to understand the difficulty level of the question, right? The difficulty level of the question, so that you will get an idea, all right? So how easy, right, the question is, or how easy to solve the question, right? So all those things will be known now, right? So we should not use what? Simple past tense, because I've told you the reason, right? So present perfect tense. Simple past tense is represented by what? V2, whereas present perfect tense has got a formula. What is that? Have or has plus V3. Have or has plus V3. It means this V2 has to be replaced with what? V3. You know what? Meet is V1. We all of us know that, right? Meet is V1, right? V2 is met. V3 is also met, right? V3 is also met. Hence, we will use what? Met here. Do you want me to go with have or has? We have or has, right? Only one of them should be used. So, do you want me to use have or has here? Of course, has. Because who would decide whether to use have or has? Subject. What is my subject here? John. How did you know that this is a subject? Who did the action? Who did the action of meeting? The action of meeting was done by what? John. Whoever does the action is said to be what? Subject. In this case, what is my subject here? John. John is absolutely third person singular. Most of your students know third person singular. Sir, how did you come to know that this is third person? So we came to know that this is singular. John is one person singular, but how would you identify that it has third person? Right, let me tell you this. Let me write here, I, V, U, right? IV is termed to be first person, singular, plural. I is termed to be what? First person. The person who is speaking, the person who is listening, the person who is speaking, the person who is listening. The person who is speaking is what? I, which is first person. The person who is listening is what? Second person, right? So whom we talk about, both first person and second person will talk about what? Third person, obviously. The third person is what here? Pratma. So as I've told you, IV is first person, you is what? Second person. You is what? Second person. Apart from this subjects, apart from these subjects, everything else is what? Third person. John is what? Third person. It is neither I nor we nor what? You. Obviously, it would be what? Third person, right? So it means first and second person. So first and second person are talking about what? Third person, John, right? So now the rule says that if the subject of a sentence is third person, of course, singular, we would never use what? Have. We would never use what? Have, but use what? Has, right? Right now, we would never use what? What? Have. We would use what? Has. So it means met. Met should be replaced with what? John has met me, right? Third person singular, right? If the subject of a sentence is what? Third person singular. If you want, you can make a note of it, right? If the subject of a sentence is third person singular, right now, we would not use, generally, we don't use what? Have, but use what? Has, right? If the same subject is third person plural, right? Third person plural, we would use have. We would use what? Have the helping verb. Have the helping verb, right? Let's just say I've written. Let me give you an example so that you would understand better. John and, let me reword the sentence by making some correction, right? John and John and Smith, John and Smith, right? John and Smith, is it have or has met me? Have or has met me, right? Just now, right? So, do you want me to use have or has? Who would decide? Who would decide? The doer of the action. Who did the action? John and Smith. This is our subject. This is our what? Subject. Is my subject third person? Is my subject third person? Yes. Because how did you come to know that this is not third person? This is not first and second person. This is third person. Because it is not I. It is not you. It is not we. Obviously, it must be what? Third person, right? So third person singular or plural? John and Smith together becomes what? Plural. So plural subjects, we do not use what? Has, but use what? Have. It means John and Smith, John and Smith have met me just now, right now. Yes. So these are the common errors which would be asked in your competitive exams, right? Directly or indirectly, these concepts are being asked, on a regular interval, I should say, right? Next, your question number Your question number 4. I think you got the correction right. John has met me just now, right? Next. So for that, you need to have command over tenses, right, ma? So next. Right, ma. What they believed in God is not true, right, ma? So this is related to banking sector, right? This is an advanced level of question. Right. So actually, when you read this sentence, it sounds as if there is no mistake. All right? Yes or no? It sounds as if there is no mistake in the sentence, but there's a mistake. With what here? With what? We don't use what, right? So let me tell you this. When do we use right what in a sentence? What is the purpose of using what in a sentence actually? Could you let me know, right? So what is used? So of course it is an interrogatory word, right? Interrogatory, interrogative, we would say interrogative pronoun. Interrogative pronoun, all right? Would call it what? Interrogative pronoun. The purpose of what? The purpose of what is to, right, so is to use, we would use what when there is absence of noun. When there is absence of noun in a sentence, right? When there is absence of noun in a sentence, right? So let me write a sentence here so that you would understand, right? So in order to crack that sentence, just understand my, example, which I think will clear it out, right? So I've written a simple statement. Did you eat? Did you eat? Of course, it's an interrogative sentence, right, Ma? You is my subject because eating is done by whom? You, right, Ma? It's a question, right? Of course, this is your helping verb. Eat is your main verb, which is your base form, nothing but V1. This is absolutely fine. Did you eat? Can I use what did you eat here? Yes, it depends on the expression of the speaker. It depends on the expression of the speaker, right? But if I say, right? But if I say, what did you eat apples? Is this going to be okay? What type of grammar is this? This is absolutely incorrect, right? So when there is no noun here, for that noun, I've used what here? What, right? So in the absence of apples or in the absence of object, I've used what here? What. To know that, I've used what? What. But when there is already information, why would you use what here? Yes or no? Right, ma. You can use when did you eat apples? How did you eat apples? Why did you eat apples? But what has got a special function, right? When there is absence of a noun and in a sentence, you would use what? What. Then you will get the answer, right? So when already you have an answer, why would you use what here? Similarly, the same concept is applied here, right? So let me tell you, they believed in God. Who believed? Right, ma. Who believed in God? Right? Who believed in God? They believed in God. They is what my subject. They is what my subject. All right. They is what my subject. All right. So believed, of course, is verb. Right. They believed in God is not true. Right. What is not true? This entire thing. This entire thing is not true. This entire thing is not true. It means. It means this is acting as the subject. This is acting as the subject, which is said to be a noun clause. Which is said to be what? Noun clause. Of course, this we would right discuss this in detail when we get into the course, right? But as of now, right, do understand that is not true, right? Is not true as what? Is not true as what? Predicate. We'll call it what? Predicate. So we need to have subject to the predicate, right? Ma? Subject to the predicate. Of course, this entire clause is treated to be what? To be what? Subject. Nothing but, as I've told you, noun clause, right? So actually, there are two sentences in one sentence. In one complete sentence, there are two sentences involved. What is that? They believed in God is one sentence. Is not true is one sentence. Of course, the subject of is not true is what? This entire clause. This entire clause. So, as all of you know, if there are two sentences in one sentence, there are two sentences. If there are two sentences, how would you know that it's a sentence? If a sentence has what? Subject, verb, object. It is not mandatory. If you have subject, verb, if required, object, it is said to be what? Sentence. It is said to be what? Sentence. Similarly, in this one big sentence, you have two sentences involved. In order to join, right, when you have two sentences, we need to have a joiner, right? We cannot simply write two sentences, one sentences, but we have to use appropriate conjunction. So you know the work of conjunction, right? You know the work of the use of conjunction. Conjunctions are used to what? Join. They can also be called as what? Joiners. We'll have to simply use a word that joins two sentences. That conjunction would always be what? That. 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 So what should be replaced with what? That. That they believed in God is not true. Maybe now this is sounding incorrect to you. But when you have read what they believed in God is not true, it is sounding correct to you. But this is what the problem with the spoken English, right? So we always follow spoken English, and we always believe that whatever we listen to or whatever we, whatever we go through in terms of reading, they are 100% correct. That is not essentially correct, right? So one has to go through all the grammar rules. In the background, we have what? The syllabus. That is why we are given a syllabus. We are given syllabus, right? Noun, pronoun. We have to have a depth. If not depth knowledge, at least minimum understanding has to be there, right, Ma? So, so we wouldn't use what here. The reason being, they believed what? In God. We already have the answer. Then why do you again write what here? Why will you write again what here? What is used for what? When there is absence of information. When there is absence of information. But already the answer of what is there here. In God is what? In God is what? In God is what? The answer to the question, what? When there is already an answer, there is no need to use what here, right? So that is why simply a joiner, we're going to use what? That they believed in God is not true. This is your right answer, right? Next, if you have understood this, let me write another sentence, right? So that what what have you what have you right now, what have you purchased a car? I think this sentence is weird, right? At the first go itself, we can identify the sentence, right? But when we are reading, it is it is sounding incorrect to you. The reason being, what have you purchased a car? See, actually, we have used what here what for car itself. When there is an answer, why would you use what here? So you would simply eliminate this. Have you purchased a car? There is only one sentence, which is your interrogative sentence. Which is your interrogative sentence. All right. So hence the function of what. What is used in a sentence when there is absence of information? When there is absence of information, right? Yes, ma. So you will move on to next question. All right. Yes. Your question number 5 is, I did not sleep well last night. I think it is very easy to answer, right? We've already discussed this. Right? What's the mistake in the sentence, right? Of course, slept. You need to know V1, V2, V3, which I think you know, right? Absolutely fine. So it is not slept because slept is what? V2 form. V2 form. Of course, we have V1, V2, V3, V4. Every verb has got what? Four forms, right? So if slept is V2, of course, V3 is also what? Slept. This is sleeping, right? What is V1 form? Base form, sleep, right? Sleep. So, as I've told you, right? If you get to see do or does or did in a sentence, the main verb should always be in its base form, all right? So, that's the matter here. So, then what do you want me to do? So, I did not sleep. I did not sleep well last night. This is your answer, right? So simple past tense. Simple past tense. Last night is what your past. Nothing to do with present, right? That is why I've used what? Simple past tense. Negative sentence. Yes. Right, ma. Your next question. Question number 6. Question number 6. Right. Never in life have I seen such a horrible thing. Never in life have I seen such a horrible thing. All right. So this is also one of the important models, right, in terms of your competitive exams, right? So, so actually this was the as it is question, right? The same question which was asked in the SSC CGL Tier 2, right? I've written here, right? So you need to spot the error, right? Let me tell you, right? So what most of the students did was, right, they've marked error in the B part. They've marked error in the B part. So they thought that it should not be have I seen, I have seen, right? But let me tell you this is absolutely fine. Why? Right? So for this you need to understand a small concept, right? So the point over here is, in order to construct interrogative sentences, generally we use we use helping verb before the subjects. Generally, right, ma? In order to construct what? Interrogative sentences before the doer of the action, right? Before the doer of the action. Verb is nothing but action, right? Generally, it is said to be action. Of course, we have state of being, possessive verbs, etc. But as of now, do understand that in order to frame interrogative sentences, you need to have what? Helping verb before the subject. Of course, before helping verbs you can have wh family words. That's absolutely fine. According to the expression or according to the intention of the speaker, you can use it, right? So now the point to remember is, in interrogative sentences, subject will not come first, but what will come first? Helping verbs. Will come first, right? So let me write a sentence here. Have you have you had breakfast? Have you had breakfast? Right? So in this case, you is my subject, right? So this is what my helping verb, of course. This is what your main verb. Had is nothing but had is used in the sense of eaten, right? If you want, you can also write what eaten here, right? Have you had your breakfast, or have you eaten your breakfast, right? So this is the case, right? So the point to remember is, right, if it is an interrogative sentence, helping verbs needs to be, right, placed first or before the subject, right? If you want, you can use interrogative words such as why have you eaten, or why have you had breakfast, when have you had your breakfast, right? So this is what it is, right? So we'll get back to this, right? We'll get back to our sentence, right? In this sentence, right, have is what your helping verb, I is what your subject, seen is what your verb, which is in your V3 form, see, saw, seen, all right? So such a horrible thing. See, the point is, just now I've told you that interrogative sentences take helping verbs before what? Subjects. Before subjects. But there is one more type of sentence which uses the interrogative model. When I say the interrogative model, helping verb first, then subject, right? So let me tell you what is that model. Whenever you get to see adverbs of frequency, of course, never is what? A negative, right, ma? Negative word. Never is what? Negative verbs. Adverbs of negation, we can also call it adverbs of negation. Never means, right, it's a negative word, right? So this is termed to be, never is termed to be adverbs of frequency. Adverbs of frequency. When, never, right? So frequency is nothing but what? When. The time interval, right? So interval is to be regarded in terms of what? Never or ever, etc. things. Now the point to remember is, whenever you get to see adverbs at the beginning of the sentence, whenever you get to see adverbs, right, ma? Whenever you get to see adverbs at the beginning of the sentence should be written in interrogative format. Interrogative format. Just now I've told you what is interrogative format. Interrogative format is nothing but Helping verbs are placed before subjects. That is what I've done here. What is my subject here? I here, right? Have is helping verb. This is absolutely fine. Then what is the mistake? Yes, the mistake is with what? Let me explain the sentence to you, right? See, a person is saying, never in life have I seen such a horrible thing. It means he hasn't seen such a horrible thing in his entire life. But remember this, but if you observe this, he's saying such a horrible thing. If he is saying such a horrible thing, it means he is seeing now. He has seen now at least. Only then he can say that it is a horrible thing. Without seeing it, how can he say that it's a horrible thing? Yes or no? He might have seen it and he has written a statement, but this sentence has what? Never. Never means he has not seen now also. He has not seen now also. But this sentence indicates that the person is saying such a horrible thing. When a person sees that thing, only then he can say that it's a horrible thing. It means the logic is that he has seen it now. He hasn't seen it before. He hasn't seen it before. It means you'll have to use before. I'll explain it to you once again, right? Never in life have I seen such a horrible thing before. If you do not use before, what happens is he has not seen now also. He has not seen now also. It means that such a horrible thing refers that the logic says that he has seen now. He has seen now, right? For that to happen, before he has not seen, but he has seen now. He has seen now. Right, ma'am. So now the answer is never in life have I seen such a horrible thing before, right? So I hope you have understood this session, right, ma? So of course you need to have command over tenses, right, ma? We know that there are 12 tenses, right? When we get into the tense topic, you will get in, right? You'll get a clarity on that, right? So let me move to next question. Yes, right, ma. He wanted to meet me last year. Sounding incorrect? Yes. Let me tell you what it is, right? Last year, right, ma? Last year, which refers to past, which refers to what? Past, which refers to past. So for that, he have used what? Wanted. Has used what? Wanted. But do remember that whenever you get to see TO2, whenever you get to see what? TO2, the verb, the verb the verb that is used immediately after the verb that is used immediately after TO2 should be in base form. Should be in what? Base form. Nothing but present form. Nothing but V1 form. I hope you're getting this, right? So did you remember? Did you remember? V1 is also used in some other case. What is that case? Of course. Do, does, did. Do, does, did. If you get to see do, does, did in a sentence, the main verb should be in what? Base form. Similarly, if you get to see TO2 in a sentence, the verb needs to be in what? Base form. The verb needs to be in what? Base form. Unless it is a preposition. It means, let me clear this for you. 2 plus V1. Actually, this is the format. We cannot use V2, we cannot use V3, or we cannot use V1, yes, right? We cannot use V1 as V2, V3. It means you have to use what? Base form after TO2. After TO2. No matter what, no matter what. Let it be past tense, let it be present tense, let it be future tense. If you get to see TO2, the verb, the verb that is used immediately after TO2 should not be in what? V2, V3, V1s. It should be in what? V1. But if TO2 is acting as preposition, if TO2 is acting as preposition, we can also use V1 ing. We can also use what? V1 ing. On the whole, TO2, after TO2, we would never ever use what? V1s, V1s, right? V2, V3. For sure, these words should not be seen in a sentence. Immediately after TO2, V1s, V2, V3 should not at all be seen, right? Not at all be seen, right? We can use what? V1. When it is termed to be infinitive, when it is termed to be preposition, we can use what? V1 ing. But never V1s, V2, V3. Yes. So in this case, right, in this case, he wanted, right, he wanted what? To meet. He wanted what? Actually, I've written here what? Met. Met is what here? V2 form. But we never use V2 form with what? To here. So what is the base form of met here? Meet. So generally, students think that, sir, last year is past tense. We'll also have to use met, which is your past tense, right? But that is incorrect. Whenever you get to see TO2, you can use what? Meet, right? So this is what the case is, right? Let me write another sentence here so that you would understand in a better way, right? So example say, Mohan did not did not did not like to Mohan did not like to visited Mohan did not like to visited Agra. This is your sentence. Mohan did not like to visit Agra. So spot the error. Is there any grammatical mistake? Yes, of course there is a blunder. All right. So what is your keyword here? TO2. Just now I've told you that if you get to see TO2 in a sentence, no matter what, you should not use what? V2, V3, V1s. Of course, since this is not a preposition, how did you come to know that this is not a preposition? Mohan did not like what? So what is nothing but what? Object. When you get an answer to the what, it would be what? Object. So object, in case of object, to would be what? Infinitive here, right? So of course it is not visited. What is the base form or present form of visited? Of course visit. But there are some students say there are some students who say that, sir, did is past tense, again we'll also have to use past tense. That is not the case here, right? So Mohan did not like to visit Agra. This is your absolute answer, right? So if you have understood this, we'll move on to next question. Yes. So I think we have made the correction, right? He wanted to, it is not met, it would be what? Met. This is also one of the common questions which is asked in terms of your SSC, CGL or CHS or whatever you name in terms of your competitive exams, right? So right, if you make a note of it, it will be easier to, right, solve a question of similar sort, right? Your next question, right, Ma? Yes. Though I have been working here for a long time, now I don't like here anymore, right? Yes. This question was asked in the SSSCGL Tier 2, right? Yes. Did you find the mistake? Did you find the mistake? Yes. Ritma. Though is what your conjunction, right, ma? So I is your subject. I have been, which is your present perfect continuous, right, ma? Though I have been working here, though I have been working here for a long time, right, ma? Though I have been working here for a long time, what happened? Now I don't like here anymore. It means, right, ma? What is your main verb here? This is your helping verb, right, ma? Right, ma? This is your helping verb. This is your helping verb. What is your main verb here? Working, right, ma? So present perfect continuous tense. Have or has plus been plus V1 ing. As I've told you, we'll get to know this in what? Tenses, right? So, but as of now, this is present. As of now, know that this is present perfect continuous tense because there is an action which is happening for a long time, from past to present, past to present. To indicate the past actions which has present relevance, we use what? Present perfect continuous tense. Present perfect continuous tense. This is the case, right, ma? So I have been working here, right? This is again adverb, right, ma? This is adverb. Working is, in this case, working is a verb which is intransitive. Intransitive. Sir, what is this intransitive again for us? Intransitive. We have actually two types of verbs. Transitive verbs, if you call it a verb, it has to be either transitive or intransitive. This is a small concept. I think you need to know it. to understand the sentence and answer it, right, ma? So, so as I've told you, verb is categorized into two, right, ma? One is transitive, another is what? Intransitive. Intransitive, right? So, sir, how do we say that? How can we say that a verb is transitive, intransitive? It means if a verb has, if a verb has an object, if a verb has an object, if a verb has an object, right now. So this is a sentence, right? Subject, verb, object. If a verb has an object, absolutely, it is said to be what? Transitive. If a verb, if a verb cannot have an object, if a verb cannot have an object, cannot have an object, it is termed to be what? Cannot. If a verb cannot have an object, it is termed to be intransitive. Intransitive. Sir, how do we know that? How do we know that whether the verb has an object or not? Simple. One, you have to ask a question. You have to ask a question in terms of, right, in terms of answering the question or answering the action verb, which is, what did I use here? Working, right, ma? So if you have this question words, what or whom, if you get answers to the question what or whom, that would be the object of the verb. If you cannot ask a question in terms of what or whom, if you cannot ask a question in terms by using verb in terms of what or whom, then the verb does not have any object. It means if I say, let me write a sentence here so that you would understand. I ate mangoes. Itma. This is your verb, right? Second sentence. I, Ritma. I slept. I slept. I slept well. Let me complete this sentence by using an adverb here, Ritma. So in the first sentence, ate is verb. In the second sentence, slept is verb, Ritma. So can you let me know what is transitive verb, what is intransitive verb? So just now I've told you, right? So if the verb has to be if the verb has to be transitive, it needs to have what? It needs to answer the question what or whom. If there is an reply to the question what or whom, that would be the object of the verb. Object of the verb. So can I say I ate what? Absolutely. The answer of what is what here? Mangoes. Absolutely, this is transitive. But can I ask a question using slept? Can I slept what? You cannot use that question. I cannot. I slept what? You cannot use what. I slept whom? You cannot use that. It means it is intransitive. There are intransitive verbs such as what? Slept, go, etc. Right? So these are all the words which are termed to be what? Intransitive. Now, so why did I say this? To answer this question. Simple. To answer this question right now. So yes, though I have been working, right now, working is what your verb. Is it transitive verb or intransitive verb? Working what? You cannot say working what, right? You cannot ask a question using what here. You can use where, why, but you cannot use what here. It means this has no object. When it has no object, obviously this is what? Intransitive. Intransitive. Absolutely fine. Till this, right now, though I have been working here for a long time, right? Absolutely fine until here, right? Next. Now, I don't like here. He has used what here? The problem is with here, right? Now the point is I don't like, right? This is verb. Is like, is the verb like transitive or intransitive? Yes, it is transitive. It is transitive. It means it needs to have what? Object. It needs to have what? Object. But is there any object here? I don't like. I don't like what? Is there any answer to the question? Answer to the question what here? There is no answer. So that is why we don't use here because here is what? Adverb. Here is what? Adverb. But we need object to the verb. We need object to the verb. Objects will always be nouns or pronouns. Objects will always be what? Nouns or pronouns. They are not, they are never adverbs. They are never adverbs. It means we need a noun or pronoun. Right. Let me complete this sentence now. Though I have been working here for a long time, Now I don't like working. I don't like working, right, ma? Now I don't like at this place. Right, ma. So now I'll read it for you. Though I have been working for here for a long time, I don't like, I don't like at this place, or you can also write what in this place. But you would never use what, right, ma? You would never use what? You would never use adverb because like is transitive verb. Like is transitive verb, right? Yes. If you have understood this, we will move on to the next question. All right? Yes. Your next question is yes. The shop opposite to the college was open since 10, right? But the owner of the shop did not arrive till 11, right? So let me know the error, right? If you think the sentence is absolutely grammatically free, you can go with what? No error. If you think there is no grammatical error, you can go with no error, right? Yes. What do you think? The shop opposite to the college, right? Right, ma, was open. The shop was open. Extra information. This is extra information. The main information is the shop was open since 10. Can I tell you? Can I tell you what? Since and for. Generally, since and for are used in perfect tenses. Generally, since and for are used in what? Perfect tenses. How would you know that it's a perfect tense? When you have helping verbs, have or has, right, ma, have or has plus V3, it would be present perfect. When you have, right, ma, let me write here so that I would have some space here, right? I would have some space. Since for is used in what? Perfect tenses. Generally, we use it in what? Perfect tenses. See, how do you know that it's a perfect tense? How do we come to know that it's a perfect tense? When we have, right, ma, have or has plus V3, have or has plus V3, it's present perfect tense. It is termed to be what? Present perfect tense. When we have or has plus V3, been plus V3, it is of course V4, it is termed to be what? Present perfect continuous. Present perfect continuous. Present perfect continuous. Similarly, had plus V3 is what? Past perfect. Had plus been plus V4 is what? Past perfect continuous tense. It means since and for are generally used with what? Perfect tense. But in this case, in this sentence, we haven't used what? Perfect tense. We haven't used perfect tense. The reason being, he continued actually. But the owner of the shop didn't arrive till 11. But the owner of the shop didn't arrive till 11. It means he's talking about the past action. No more relevance to the, there is no more relevance, there is no more relevant to the what? Present. It means that we do not use present perfect. We do not use present perfect tense. It means we cannot change this. We can simply change since with what? From. Since with what? From. Because since and for are used with what? Perfect tenses. Since and what? For are used with what? Perfect tenses. So this is what the case is. The shop was open from 10, but the owner of the shop didn't arrive till 11. The reason being, this sentence has no more relevance to the present. No more relevance to the present. That is why we have used what here? From. Right now? Yes. Next. Your next question would be yes. All the people present there felt pity for the poor man, right? All the people present there felt pity for the poor man whose both hands were amputated, right, ma? Right, ma? Whose both hands were amputated. This is one of the important models, I should say, right? This is one of the important models, right? So, have you identified the error? Yes. Now the point is, right, ma? Let me write few words here so that you would understand here. In English, there are determiners called all, right, both, both, half. This can be referred to, right, this can be referred to, right, this can be referred to determine amounts, amount, amount of something, right, amount of something. All, both, half, which are termed to be determiners as well, right, determiners, 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 right. So if you use this determiners all, both, half before a noun, right, before a noun, make sure that these are written at the first place. Make sure that these are written at the first place. It means, let me give you an example and clear it for you, right? So for example, say, his both friends, right, his both friends, try to understand this sentence and we'll get back to that sentence, right? So as this is an important model, you need to, right, have focus here, right? His both friends are absent. His both friends are absent today. Correct the given sentence. Correct the given sentence. Absolutely. Just now I've told you that, right, when all, both, half are used with a noun they are placed at the first. They're placed first. It means friends is what your noun. Friends is what your noun. But the position of both should be what? First. Position of both should be what? First. So it means it is not his both friends. We would use what? Both his friends. Both his friends. Both his friends are absent. Make sure that whenever you get to see all, both, of before a noun, these words or these determiners should be placed first. Should be placed first, right? So now we'll get back to this question, right? So we'll apply this concept here, right? All the people present there, right, all the people present there. So in this case, all is placed first, absolutely fine, right? So the is what your article, right? Absolutely fine, present there. Felt pity for the poor man whose both hands were amputated, right? Now in this case, hands is what your noun. In this case, hands is what your noun. Both is what your determiner. Whose is also talking about what? Both. Whose both hands, but it is talking about the poor man. Poor man. But as I've told you, both should be written what? First. Both should be written what? First. Let me write that sentence. You tell me if it is sounding correct. Yes. If I say both whose hands, is it going to be correct? So just now I've told you that whenever you get to see these words before a noun, whenever you get to see all, both, half before a noun, they should be placed first, right? But can I write both whose hands? It would become wrong because in this case, whose is referring to what? The poor man. Whose is referring to what? The poor man. So it means that whose has to be placed first here because whose is referring to what? The poor man. It is indicating the possessive. It is indicating what? The possession. It is indicating the possession. So hence, we would replace this with all the people present there felt pity for the poor man. Both hands, both hands of, both hands of. This is what your right answer. This is what your almost 99% of the students have made it wrong, right? This was the question which was asked in the SSC Tier 2 examination, right? So all the students, what did they do is they kept, answer it as no error, but they did not understand what it is. But now the point is, right, whose is referring to what? The poor man, right? Both is what? Determiner. Both should be used first. So that is what I did. Hands is what your noun, both of whom, which is indicating what? Possession. Which is indicating what? Possession. Nothing but, let me write here. Sir, whose became whom? How did it become? It means whose is nothing but of whom. Right, ma? Whose is equal to what? Of whom. You can write this way as well, right? This is what the answer is, right, ma? So for that, you need to have the grammar concepts. You have to you have to have command over what? Grammar concepts, right? Which will happen in the course, right? The course of time. Next. Your next question is, I hope you got this point, right, ma? Yes. Your question number 11, right? Your question number 11, right? So this is also important model, right? So which friend of yours does live in Dubai? Which friend of yours does live in Dubai? It's an interrogative sentence. Generally, interrogative sentences begin with what? Helping verb, subject. It means before subject we would use what? Helping verb. Before subject we would use what? Helping verb. But there is an exception. But there is an exception. When WH words or WH family words, when WH family words are used as, right, ma, when WH family words are used as subjects, subjects, subjects in an interrogative sentence, when WH words are used as subjects in an interrogative sentence, do not use, do not use, or we do not use, right, ma? We do not use helping verbs. We do not use what? Helping verbs. We do not use what? Helping verbs, right? So, in this case, which is what? WH family word. WH family word. Sense. You shouldn't use what? Does here. Does is what? Your helping verb. As I've told you, when WH family words are used as what? Subjects. As what? Subjects. As subjects, we do not use what? We do not use what? Helping verbs. But has used helping verb, then it became wrong, right? So let me write another sentence so that you would understand the concept which I have said just now, right? So let me write a sentence here, right? Who did scold you? Who did scold you? What's wrong with the sentence, right? Interrogative sentence. If WH family words are used in a sentence, we don't use what? Helping verbs. If WH words are used as what? Subjects. Scold. Who scolded? The person, right? He's the doer, but we do not know the name, right? But who is what? The doer. Doer is nothing but what? Subject. It means if WH words are used as what? Subjects. If WH words are used as what? Subjects, we don't use what? Right. Did. Who scolded you or who scolded you? If it is past tense, we can go with what? Scolded. Who scolded you, right? So please do remember that, right, ma? Please do remember that. In an interrogative sentence, if WH words are used as subjects, we do not use helping verbs. We do not use what? Helping verbs. That's it. So I think you've got clarity on this, right, ma? Next. Your next question is, the manager couldn't explain the way how he would get the remaining work done before the deadline. Right, ma? What's the error? What's the error? He would get the remaining work done before the deadline. Right, ma? Let me tell you what. The manager couldn't explain. It means he was unable to explain, right, ma? He was unable to explain what? The way, right, ma? The way. This is again description of the way. This is again the description of the way. It means generally when a noun is used, to help that noun in terms of giving additional information, we do not use how here. We would use in which. We would use what? In which. Let me explain this to you very clearly. Right. Now the point is, right, ma, the sentence is, right, the manager could not explain the way, right? So absolutely this sentence. But the way he is explaining is written here. How he would get the remaining work done before the deadline. It means whenever you get to see a noun or pronoun, please do remember that. Whenever you get to see a noun or pronoun, to describe it, to describe it, to describe it, or to give additional information, or to give what? Additional information. We do not use how. We do not use what? How. We can use what? We can use what? Which here, of course, preceded by what? Preposition, right? So now the answer would be the manager could not explain the way in which he would get. In which. When I say in which, in the way. Which represents what? In the way. In the way. Which is nothing but what? The way. It means the way is represented by what? The way is represented by the relative pronoun. The way is represented by the related pronoun what? Which. I hope you got this, right? So the manager couldn't explain the way in which he would get the remaining work done before the deadline. Of course, this will be taught to you in what? Taught to you in relative pronouns class, right? So when we get to that session, we'll definitely understand more about this. But as of now, just to give you an idea as to how the question needs to be corrected, right? So to get an insight of something, I've done this, right, Ma? Yes. So we will move on to next question, if this is clear, right? So of course the correction would be what? In which. Right, Ma. Your 13th question is, the jury seemed very convinced by his insistence that he was not to blame, right? What's the error? Yes, the error is in the part E. The error is in the part E, right, Ma? Convinced. We do not use very here. Let me tell you the reason, right, Ma? So when I say he is generally, let me write a sentence here. He is happy. Is it correct to say he is very happy or so happy? You heard people saying, I am so happy, right? He is so happy. He is very happy. But now the time has come. Grammar will not allow you to use words as and when you like, right? But now the point is, Ritma, very is used, Ritma, very is used when the listener, Ritma, when the listener has no information. When the listener has no information. When the listener has no information. Whereas so is used when the listener has information. It means if something is known already to him, for example, say you're laughing, right? You're laughing. It means that you're happy. Then I would say your listener, right? Your listener knows that you're happy. Then I would say, why are you so happy? I should not say very happy because information is already known to me, right? But at the very first time, if I do not know, I would say you are very happy. You are very happy. But if the listener knows that something is happening already, you can use what? So. But in this case, there is no information. There is no information. So that is why there is no information, right, Ma? So we wouldn't use what? We wouldn't use what? Very here, right? We can use, if you want, you can leave it like that, or you can use absolutely. We can use what? Absolutely. The jury seemed absolutely convinced by his insistence that he was not to blame. I'll give you one more example so that you would understand the concept which I've just discussed now. For example, say, he is tired. He is tired. Generally, do you want me to use he is very tired or so tired? Since there is no information about his tiredness, he's talking about the first time when the listener has no information, right? There is no information, right? So that is why you would use what? He is very tired, right? He is very tired. But now the point is, When I say when I continue this, he is very tired that he cannot walk. He is very tired that he cannot walk. But the listener has information. The listener has information. When he has information, what did I tell you? We'll have to use so, right, ma? So, Ritma. So in this case, we cannot use very or so. The reason being, Ritma, convinced cannot be used in degrees, right? So I cannot say very convinced, more convinced, the most convinced. It cannot have degrees. That is also one of the reasons here, right? That is also one of the reasons. That is why we do not use very here. Absolutely, we can use what? Absolutely, right. So in this case, we cannot use he's very tired because already we have information. So we will say what? He's so tired that he cannot walk, right? So I think you have understood this, right? Next, right, ma. Your question number 14. Your question number 14 is the manager suggested that the coach make all the players practice every day. The manager Right. The manager did what? Suggested. What did he suggest? What did he suggest? That the coach make all the players practice every day. Right. So it seems that the manager suggested something. What was that something? The coach make all the players practice every day. So it means the thing is that why did I use here make? Because whenever you get to see suggested in a sentence, after that if you get to see subject, you will have to use v1 form, nothing but base form. Point to be noted is whenever you get to see the verb suggested in a sentence, of course you will have subject with for sure, right, ma? Whenever you get to see suggested in a sentence, right, ma? Whenever you get to see suggested in a sentence, after that subject, the verb that is used after the subject should be in what? Base form. Should be in base form. So let me give you an example so that you would understand the structure. For example, say, Ritma, the doctor, the doctor suggested that the doctor suggested that he, he takes medicines regularly. Ritma. So I've written the doctor suggested that he takes medicines regularly. So isn't this in the format of the above formula, right? Suggested that I've used he, but what did I tell you? I told you that after the subject you need to have what? Base form, but not S form. This is S form. Actually, V1S is what? Nothing but V1S form, which is treated to be third person singular. Third person singular. If third, of course, there's a third person singular, but already we are suggesting. It means we should not use S form, that is V1 form. The doctor suggested that he take medicines regularly. He take medicines. It is not he takes. He takes medicine because somebody is suggesting. Who is that somebody? Doctor, right? So similarly, this is absolutely fine. Don't do. I mean, don't correct it. Absolutely, that is fine, right, ma? So the manager suggested that the coach make all the players practice. The culprit here is practice. Practice is what? Right, ma. We have two words with the spelling Prictice, Prictice, right, ma. So this is a noun, right, ma. C, the letter which has C is termed to be what? Noun. The letter which is termed to be S, is treated as what? Verb. But actually, I require, right? So already there is a noun here. Already there is a noun here. I require a verb. The coach make all the players practice. Practice is what? Action, right? We need a action verb, not a noun, not a noun. Hence, it is not C. It should be what? S. The manager suggested that the coach make all the players practice every day. I hope you got this point, right, ma? So whenever there is a requirement for noun, you would use what? Practice, right, ma? Let me give you another example so that you would understand the word practice better, right? In a better way. Example, say, Let me write here. Right now. The practice, the practice, the practice, right now. The practice that is, right now. Let me correct this. The practice that is given by, the practice that is given by our coach is not enough. Is not enough. The practice that is given by our coach is not enough. What's the mistake? Of course, right? In this case, the practice, right? The practice. When you use the, it means that 100% there should not be verb. It should be what? Noun. It should be what? Noun. So with noun, we don't use S. We would use what? C. We would use what? C. The practice that is given by our coach. The practice that is given by our coach is not enough, right? So this is how we, right? So the only difference between practice and this practice, C and S. C is what? Noun. S is what? Verb. So I hope you have got this all right. Yes, ma. So I think this is all. This is it for today, right? And I think I hope we'll meet in the paid courses, right? So I'll be giving all the grammatical points that are to be needed. So when I start, right, ma, when I start the course in terms of syllabus, now we'll get into detail. There will, I think, will I hope there will meet, right?